Why nice people always end up being alone. Denzel Washington motivation, Stoicism. Life has a way of testing the kindest souls. Today, as I stand here, I see you, the givers, the caretakers, the ones who wear their hearts on their sleeves. You smile even when your heart is heavy. You say yes when every fiber of your being is screaming no, and you keep giving even when there's nothing left to give. I see you, I get it. But let me tell you this. Being nice isn't your weakness. It's your strength. It's the very thing that sets you apart in a world that too often forgets the power of kindness. So why then do nice people end up alone? Why does giving your best sometimes feel like it's rewarded with loneliness? It's not because you're wrong. It's because you're rare. The world isn't punishing you. It's shaping you. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Nice people aren't alone because they're weak. They're alone because their kindness is misunderstood. The problem isn't you. It's that your kindness is ahead of its time. And while it might feel lonely now, let me tell you something. Your strength lies in staying true to who you are. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life, where today we'll uncover why being nice doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're extraordinary. Have you ever explored the content on Stoic in Your Life? If so, leave a comment saying, "I've been following this channel." If you're new here, let us know by commenting, "I just joined and will be checking in regularly." We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. What does kindness mean to you in today's world? Why are kind people often lonely? Share your story below and let's continue the conversation. Why nice people end up alone. Number 1. Kindness isn't valued. Have you ever wondered why it feels like those who lead with kindness often end up standing alone? The world we live in today seems to place a higher value on power, success, and appearances, leaving kindness often overlooked and, worse, misunderstood. Nice people, those who give their time, energy, and love selflessly, often find themselves unseen or even taken advantage of. They pour their hearts into helping others, but society rarely offers the recognition or gratitude they deserve. It's a lonely road, isn't it? Yet, as Denzel Washington once reflected, kindness is not always immediately rewarded, but its impact is lasting. Kindness, when misunderstood, is sometimes mistaken for weakness, and when it is, it can leave you questioning your worth, your intentions, and even your place in the world. But let me ask you this. Does being unrecognized mean kindness is unworthy? Or does it mean its value lies in something deeper than applause? Modern Stoicism teaches us that virtue lies in action, not acknowledgement. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's great voices, said, "Do not be ashamed of helping others, and if you are, your kindness means nothing." This isn't to say that loneliness and frustration don't sting, they do. But isn't the real measure of your strength how you choose to act when the world doesn't immediately respond with gratitude? When your kindness feels unnoticed, you are practicing something profound. You are choosing to live in alignment with your values, regardless of external validation. That's powerful, isn't it? It's easy to be good when there's a reward in sight, but to remain steadfast in kindness even when it feels like the world looks the other way, that takes resilience. Yet, let's not sugarcoat it. The loneliness of being the nice one is real, and it can wear you down if you let it. You might wonder why others who act selfishly seem to get ahead, why their sharp elbows clear paths while your open hands are met with indifference. This is where perspective becomes critical. What if the recognition you crave isn't really the point? What if the true purpose of kindness is not what it gives you, but what it allows you to give? Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Could it be that kindness, though sometimes isolating, frees you from the trap of needing external validation? When you understand this, you begin to see that every kind act is its own reward, a quiet rebellion against a world that measures worth in shallow ways. But I won't lie to you. Living this way requires courage. It means embracing the discomfort of being overlooked, learning to stand firm in your values even when it feels like no one is watching. Have you thought about how often we tie our self-worth to the approval of others? How often do we feel alone because we expect the world to acknowledge what we give? The Stoics remind us that the only things truly within our control are our thoughts and actions. Seneca put it plainly, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." So, what if instead of craving recognition, you learned to value your own quiet acts of goodness? What if you became your own source of validation, unshakable in the knowledge that your kindness serves a purpose far greater than yourself? And here's where modern Stoicism offers a lifeline. It teaches us to detach from the results of our actions and focus instead on the purity of our intentions. Being kind in a world that doesn't always reward kindness isn't a weakness, it's a strength. It's a quiet form of rebellion, a refusal to let the world's indifference dictate your character. So let me ask you, do you want to live according to what the world values? Or do you want to define your own values and live by them no matter the cost? This is the crossroads where all nice people stand, isn't it? The choice to either conform and harden your heart or remain kind despite the loneliness. Denzel Washington's wisdom on kindness reminds us that its true impact often lies beneath the surface, unseen and uncelebrated. Kindness might not bring you accolades, but it brings something infinitely more valuable: peace of mind. And isn't that the ultimate goal? To be able to look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and say, "I lived today according to my values. I gave what I could without asking for anything in return." That's a kind of wealth no one can take from you. As you walk this path of kindness, I urge you to reflect. Are you kind because you expect something back? Or are you kind because it's who you are? It's a question worth sitting with. And if the answer is the latter, then know this: you are living a life of purpose, no matter how lonely it may feel at times. In a world that often forgets the power of kindness, you are a beacon, a reminder that true strength comes not from what you take, but from what you give. And that, my friend, is a legacy worth leaving. Number 2, goodness can be a burden. Goodness, as admirable as it is, can often feel like an immense weight for those who embody it deeply. Nice people, those who lead with kindness, empathy, and a genuine desire to help others, often find themselves caught in an exhausting cycle of giving too much and receiving too little. They invest their time, energy, and emotions into relationships and situations where their efforts may go unnoticed, undervalued, or even exploited. Picture this: someone like Lisa, who always says yes when her friends ask for help, even when she's running on fumes. She's the first to offer a hand when her coworkers need assistance, the shoulder to cry on for friends, and the problem solver for her family. Yet, when she needs support, the room suddenly grows quiet, and her messages seem to be left unread. It's a common story, one that highlights how goodness, when unchecked, can turn into a silent burden. Denzel Washington captures this reality perfectly when he says, "Don't let anyone use you as their anchor if they're not willing to steady you in your storms." His words are a wake-up call for anyone who feels stretched thin, caught in the trap of always being there for others while neglecting their own well-being. There's a difference between being kind and being overused, and the latter often leaves nice people feeling isolated despite their best intentions. Why does this happen? Perhaps it's because kindness is often mistaken for weakness, or maybe because the world sometimes rewards those who take more than they give. Whatever the reason, nice people often find themselves drained, their own needs overshadowed by the demands of others. It's a reality many don't realize until the exhaustion becomes too heavy to bear. Now think about your own life. How often have you said yes when your heart was screaming no? How many times have you prioritized someone else's happiness at the expense of your own? Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, would remind us that our first duty is to protect our inner fortress, our mind and spirit. If we don't guard this sacred space, who will? It's not about closing yourself off or abandoning kindness, but about finding balance, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics, who valued harmony and resilience, understood that pouring yourself out for others without taking the time to refill your own cup is a recipe for burnout. Let's take Lisa's story further. After years of saying yes to everyone, Lisa reached a breaking point. She was constantly exhausted, emotionally depleted, and feeling invisible in her own relationships. One day, she stumbled upon an article about boundaries and how they can transform not just your relationships but your sense of self-worth. Inspired, she decided to make small changes. She started by setting limits at work, politely declining extra tasks when her plate was already full. With her friends, she began to communicate her needs, asking for support when she was struggling instead of bottling everything up. At first, it was uncomfortable. She worried that people might think she was selfish. But over time, something remarkable happened. Her relationships deepened. Those who truly cared for her understood and respected her boundaries, and those who didn't slowly faded away. Lisa learned that saying no to others sometimes meant saying yes to herself. This is a powerful lesson for anyone who feels that their goodness has become a weight they carry alone. It's not about changing who you are. It's about refining how you give. When you protect your energy, you can give from a place of abundance rather than depletion. This doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everyone around you. Have you ever noticed how much more patient and loving you can be when you're well-rested and emotionally balanced? That's the power of boundaries, and it's something nice people must embrace if they want to preserve their kindness without being consumed by it. The Stoic secrets here are profound yet simple. Balance is the key to sustaining goodness. Marcus Aurelius would advise you to remember your own limits and not to lose yourself in the service of others. Kindness without boundaries is like trying to fill an endless ocean with a single bucket. It's unsustainable. But when you establish boundaries, you create a system where your kindness can thrive without depleting you. Ask yourself, what are you doing today to protect your inner peace? Are you nurturing relationships that pour back into you? Or are you stuck in one-sided dynamics that leave you feeling empty? These are questions worth pondering, as they hold the key to a more balanced and fulfilling life. Denzel Washington's wisdom reminds us that it's okay to step back and reevaluate where we're investing our energy. Nice people don't have to end up alone, but they do need to learn when to stop giving endlessly and start valuing themselves. When you set boundaries, you create space for the right people to enter your life, those who see your kindness not as something to take advantage of, but as something to cherish. Imagine a life where your relationships are built on mutual respect, where your kindness is met with gratitude, and where your well-being is just as important as anyone else's. That's the life you deserve, and it starts with understanding that goodness is not about sacrificing yourself, but about finding a way to give that uplifts both you and those around you. The message is clear. Kindness is a gift, but it's one you must give wisely. Protect your energy. Set your boundaries and remember that saying no doesn't make you less kind. It makes your kindness more sustainable. Stoic secrets teach us that true strength lies not in endless giving, but in knowing when to conserve and when to share. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by the weight of your goodness, take a step back and ask yourself, am I being kind to myself? Because when you honor your own needs, you unlock the power to give more meaningfully and to build relationships that truly enrich your life. Number 3. Society values toughness. In today's world, toughness is often celebrated as the ultimate virtue. We are conditioned to admire those who stand firm in adversity, assert dominance, and push through challenges with unyielding resolve. In contrast, kindness and compassion are frequently misunderstood as weaknesses, leading kind-hearted individuals to feel marginalized. Society's inclination to equate strength with dominance, rather than integrity, places those who prioritize empathy in a difficult position, often leaving them alienated despite their genuine intentions. This bias creates a culture that rewards assertiveness and self-interest while undervaluing understanding and connection. As Denzel Washington aptly stated, real strength is not about dominating others, but about maintaining one's integrity and kindness in the face of adversity. Kindness, then, is a profound act of courage, one that challenges societal norms by resisting the tide of conformity. For many kind people, this misperception results in an ongoing internal struggle. The modern world thrives on competition, defining success through wealth, influence, and power. Kindness and empathy, which do not fit neatly into these metrics, often go unappreciated or unseen. This can be isolating, as the gentle nature of kindness is frequently mistaken for passivity, when in reality, it reflects great inner strength. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminds us in Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." His words highlight the value of authenticity, encouraging kind individuals to remain true to their principles, even when the world fails to recognize their worth. Understanding why kind people often find themselves alone requires recognizing how society prioritizes self-serving behavior. Toughness, as society defines it, promotes an aggressive pursuit of personal gain over collective well-being. In contrast, kindness works quietly and without the need for recognition, often making it invisible in a world that celebrates boldness. This humility, while admirable, can sometimes lead kind individuals to feel overlooked. Yet, as Epictetus wisely advised, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This reflects the core of living authentically, choosing kindness because it aligns with one's values, regardless of external validation. One of the greatest challenges for kind-hearted individuals is finding a balance between remaining true to their nature and protecting themselves from exploitation. Modern Stoicism offers insights into this dilemma, teaching that kindness is not a weakness, but a deliberate act of resilience. For the Stoics, compassion was a choice that demonstrated strength and determination. To remain kind in an indifferent or competitive world requires fortitude and an unshakable belief in one's principles. This perspective is particularly relevant in today's fast-paced society, where superficial success often overshadows deeper, meaningful connections. A Stoic mindset helps kind individuals set boundaries, ensuring that their compassion becomes a strength rather than a vulnerability. Consider the workplace, where society's obsession with toughness is amplified. Leaders who emphasize empathy and collaboration are often overshadowed by more aggressive personalities, even though their approach fosters greater harmony and long-term success. This dynamic can frustrate kind people, who may feel pressured to act against their values to gain recognition. Yet, Stoic teachings remind us to stay aligned with our true selves. As Seneca wisely observed, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Kind individuals must value their actions for their intrinsic worth, not for the approval they may or may not receive. Personal relationships can pose similar challenges. Kind people, with their consistent care and empathy, are sometimes overlooked in a society that idealizes dramatic highs and lows. Yet these same qualities, steadfastness and reliability, are what create the deepest and most enduring connections. By adopting a Stoic perspective, kind individuals can learn to appreciate their own contributions, finding fulfillment in living according to their values rather than seeking external validation. This shift in mindset empowers them to see their kindness as a source of inner strength, one that enriches their lives and the lives of others. The isolation that kind people may experience is not a reflection of their inadequacies, but of society's misplaced priorities. In a world that equates toughness with power, it is easy to forget that true strength lies in uplifting others without compromising one's integrity. As Denzel Washington's words remind us, kindness is the ultimate expression of strength, a choice to remain compassionate even in the face of adversity. The Stoics would agree, urging us to view kindness as a reflection of our highest selves. To the kind souls who feel alone in a world that prizes toughness, your empathy is not a weakness but your greatest strength. By embracing modern Stoicism, you can harmonize compassion with resilience, ensuring that your kindness remains a powerful force. Even if the world does not immediately recognize the value of your actions, their impact is immeasurable. Every act of kindness reflects your character and your courage. In a society that rewards toughness, choosing to be kind is a revolutionary act. And as the Stoics teach us, true courage lies in living virtuously, even when it's not the easy path. Listen up. Comment below with one of these quick responses. Kindness is a strength, not a weakness. If you agree with today's message, or I choose kindness every day. If you're inspired to continue being kind no matter what. And don't leave now. There's a lot more to this video, especially the last two reasons. Trust me, it's a look you won't want to miss. Number 4. Unreturned affection. Have you ever found yourself giving so much of your time, energy, and affection to others, only to realize that when you need someone, there's no one there? This is one of the hardest truths for kind-hearted people to accept. The emotional toll of unreturned affection. It's a painful reality, isn't it? You show up for others. You're the shoulder they lean on, the ear that listens, the heart that cares. But when the tables turn, when you're the one in need, the silence can be deafening. This unreciprocated love doesn't just hurt, it creates a deep sense of isolation, a kind of loneliness that's hard to put into words. Over time, it can wear you down, leaving you wondering, why does it feel like I give so much, but get so little in return? And that's where the burden begins to grow, isn't it? Kindness, once a gift you gave freely, starts to feel like a weight you carry alone. Denzel Washington speaks to this emotional exhaustion, reminding us that it takes real strength to keep showing compassion when you're met with indifference or ingratitude. Think about it. How many times have you questioned whether your kindness is worth it when it feels like no one appreciates it? Modern Stoicism offers a profound perspective here. It teaches us to focus not on what we receive, but on the integrity of our actions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." So the question isn't whether your kindness is noticed or returned. The question is, will you continue to be kind because it's who you are? But let's not pretend this is easy. The burnout from giving without receiving is real. You start to feel empty, like you're pouring from a cup that never gets refilled. Have you ever felt that way? Like the more you give, the more drained you become? It's no wonder that many kind people begin to retreat, building walls to protect themselves from the pain of unreciprocated love. Yet, isn't it ironic that the very act of closing yourself off can deepen the loneliness you were trying to escape? This is where the philosophy of modern Stoicism can become a guiding light. It reminds us that our emotional well-being doesn't have to be dictated by how others respond to us. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Could it be that the key to enduring this loneliness lies in shifting your focus inward, finding fulfillment in your own values, rather than the validation of others? Still, the ache of feeling unseen is hard to ignore, isn't it? You might wonder, if no one notices or cares, why should I keep giving? Here's the truth. The world often overlooks what is most valuable. Kindness isn't loud or flashy. It doesn't demand attention. But its quiet strength can ripple through lives in ways you may never see. Seneca once wrote, "The wise man does not lay up treasures. The more he gives to others, the more he has for himself." So even when your kindness feels thankless, isn't it possible that you're creating a legacy of goodness that matters far more than you realize? When we think about unreturned affection, it's easy to feel defeated, like you're playing a losing game. But maybe it's not a game at all. Maybe it's a practice, an ongoing commitment to being the kind of person you admire, even when no one else does. Does that resonate with you? And isn't that where true strength lies? In continuing to give, not because you expect something in return, but because you refuse to let the world harden your heart? This kind of resilience, this ability to keep giving when it feels like no one is giving back, is the essence of true character. So let me ask you, will you let the world's indifference define you, Or will you choose to rise above it? Will you continue to show up? Not because it's easy, but because it's right? Modern Stoicism challenges us to let go of what we cannot control, like the actions of others, and to anchor ourselves in what we can control, our own actions, our own choices. Unreturned affection isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of the world's inability to recognize what you bring to it. But does that make your kindness any less valuable? Or does it make it even more rare and precious? Denzel Washington reminds us that staying kind in a world that often overlooks kindness is a form of strength. And isn't that what we all strive for? To be strong, not in spite of our kindness, but because of it. As you think about your own experiences with giving and not receiving, remember this. The impact of your kindness might not be visible now, but it's there. It's in the lives you've touched, the burdens you've lightened, the love you've shared. And even if no one else sees it, you do. You know the courage it takes to keep an open heart in a world that can be so closed. So, let your kindness be your legacy, not because it's easy, but because it's who you are. Number 5. Building emotional walls. Over time, the kindest people, the ones who pour their hearts into others, often face the harsh reality of being hurt by indifference, manipulation, or even outright exploitation. This repeated pain can lead them to build emotional walls, a natural reaction to protect themselves from further disappointment. Imagine Daniel, a soft-spoken man with a big heart. In his early years, he went out of his way to help others, covering for co-workers, offering financial help to struggling friends, and being the person everyone leaned on in times of crisis. But one day he realized his kindness wasn't reciprocated. Friends disappeared when he needed support, co-workers took credit for his work, and his generosity was met with silence instead of gratitude. The realization stung, leaving Daniel disillusioned. To cope, he began constructing emotional barriers, keeping his kindness guarded. While those walls gave him a sense of safety, they also locked him away from the meaningful relationships he craved. Have you ever found yourself pulling back, afraid to let others in because you feared being hurt again? Denzel Washington captures this struggle perfectly, reminding us, don't give up on the possibility of true connections because of a few who didn't value you. Building emotional walls may feel like a necessary defense, but it's also a double-edged sword. On one hand, those barriers can keep out the pain, but on the other, they also keep out the joy of forming deep, authentic bonds. Like Daniel, many nice people end up trapped behind their own defenses, their kindness no longer a bridge to connection but a shield against vulnerability. This isolation often grows over time, leaving them lonely and misunderstood, wondering if their goodness is worth the effort. Stoic secrets teach us the importance of balance, guarding our inner peace without shutting out the world entirely. Let me share a story that highlights this tension. Sarah, a talented artist in her mid-30s, once described herself as the friend everyone could rely on. She was the one organizing group gatherings, staying up late for long talks, and dropping everything to help someone move or navigate a breakup. But slowly, she began to notice a pattern. Her phone rang only when others needed something. When she tried to share her own struggles, she was met with platitudes or brushed off entirely. Heartbroken, she withdrew, determined never to be taken for granted again. For years, Sarah kept to herself, declining invitations and avoiding opportunities to meet new people. Her walls were high and sturdy, built from years of unmet expectations. But one day, she met someone who challenged her perspective. A mentor who said, "Kindness isn't about being naive. It's about being strong enough to be discerning. Don't stop giving, just be wiser about who receives." This simple advice planted a seed of hope, and Sarah began opening up cautiously. She started setting boundaries, only giving to those who truly valued her efforts, and slowly rebuilt her circle with genuine connections. Over time, her kindness became a source of strength again, rather than a burden or a shield. Now let me ask you this. Are your emotional walls keeping out the pain, or are they keeping you from the relationships you deserve? The answer lies in reflection and choice. It's easy to retreat after being hurt. Most of us have done it at some point. But the key is learning how to protect yourself while staying open to the right people. Stoic secrets guide us here, encouraging us to live with both courage and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If we think everyone will hurt us, we risk living in fear and missing out on the goodness the world has to offer. Instead, we must train ourselves to approach life with measured trust, not naive, but not cynical either. Denzel Washington's wisdom resonates deeply here. He advises, "True connections come when you least expect them, but you must be open to receive them." Kindness isn't about being a martyr or a doormat. It's about creating opportunities for connection that uplift both you and those around you. If you find yourself stuck behind emotional walls, take small steps toward letting the right people in. Start by identifying those who value your presence, who listen when you speak, and who show up without expecting anything in return. These are the relationships worth nurturing. At the same time, don't be afraid to enforce boundaries with those who drain you or take advantage of your generosity. As Sarah discovered, kindness paired with discernment is a powerful combination. It allows you to give freely without depleting yourself. The lesson here is profound, yet practical. Emotional walls may protect you temporarily, but they can't bring you the fulfillment you seek. True strength lies in knowing when to shield yourself and when to lower your guard. Kindness doesn't mean saying yes to everyone. It means offering your heart wisely, where it will be cherished. Ask yourself, are you living behind walls that protect or imprison you? And more importantly, how can you begin to rebuild trust, both in yourself and in others? At the heart of it, kindness is not just a gift to others. It's a reflection of your strength and capacity for love. Denzel's reminder to keep seeking genuine connections challenges us to believe in the goodness of people despite past disappointments. And the Stoic secrets reveal a deeper truth. Life is a constant balance between caution and courage. To live fully, we must learn to protect our hearts without hardening them, to give without losing ourselves, and to trust without naivety. So, the next time you feel the urge to retreat behind emotional walls, remember that the connections you seek are waiting. They just require you to take that first brave step forward. Be how nice people can transform and find joy. Number 1. Setting boundaries. Nice people are often guided by an innate desire to help others, a quality rooted in their profound compassion and empathy. This selflessness is both admirable and inspiring, but it can also come at a significant cost if not managed wisely. Without clear boundaries, their emotional health can become compromised, leading to feelings of exhaustion, burnout, and even resentment. The lack of limits in their giving can leave them drained and unappreciated, unable to maintain the balance needed to thrive. Recognizing their own self-worth and learning to say no is not an act of selfishness. It is, in fact, an essential act of self-preservation and a vital step toward growth. Denzel Washington wisely points out that saying no is a form of self-care, emphasizing that prioritizing one's well-being is not just a choice but a necessity. This approach doesn't diminish their kindness. Instead, it ensures that their generosity remains genuine and sustainable without jeopardizing their mental and emotional health. In the context of modern Stoicism, this practice of boundary setting aligns perfectly with the teachings of the ancient Stoics. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminded us of the importance of acknowledging our limitations when he said, "You are a little soul carrying around a corpse." This vivid metaphor highlights the finite nature of our physical and emotional resources, urging us to treat them with care and intention. To truly embody kindness, nice people must understand that preserving their energy and well-being is not only a personal responsibility, but also an expression of wisdom and self-respect. Saying no to overwhelming requests or commitments is not a rejection of others. It is a recognition of what is truly manageable and authentic. Boundaries, when set with compassion, act as a protective shield, ensuring that the kindness people offer remains meaningful and not driven by exhaustion or obligation. Modern life complicates this effort, often glorifying overcommitment, busyness, and self-sacrifice as markers of success and value. This cultural narrative can make it especially challenging for kind-hearted individuals to set boundaries without feeling guilty or fearing judgment. Many worry that saying no may be perceived as unkind or selfish, which conflicts with their natural inclination to be helpful. However, reframing this perspective is crucial. Setting boundaries is not about rejecting others. It's about creating a space where you can help without depleting yourself. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By taking control of their time, energy, and emotional bandwidth, nice people can regain the balance needed to truly thrive, offering their support from a place of strength rather than obligation. The act of boundary setting requires introspection and practice. Start by reflecting on where your energy is being drained unnecessarily. Are there recurring patterns in your life where you overcommit, accept tasks out of guilt, or fail to delegate responsibilities? Recognizing these patterns is the first step in reclaiming your time and energy. Next, practice saying no with kindness and clarity. For example, when faced with a request that feels overwhelming, respond honestly and respectfully. "I'd love to help, but I don't have the capacity right now." Such responses set limits without severing connections or making others feel rejected. Over time, this practice strengthens not only your boundaries but also your confidence in living in alignment with your values. Modern Stoicism provides valuable guidance for navigating these challenges, teaching us that boundaries are not walls, but gateways to a more balanced and harmonious life. When approached with intention, boundaries allow us to act from a place of integrity and alignment with our principles. Nice people often fear that setting limits will reduce their ability to help others, but the opposite is true. Boundaries make their kindness more intentional and impactful. By safeguarding their emotional health, they ensure that their generosity is not driven by guilt or obligation, but by genuine care and purpose. Prioritizing emotional health and embracing the courage to set boundaries empowers nice people to transform their lives. When they learn to honor their own needs, they create a foundation for joy and resilience. They discover that saying no is not a rejection of kindness, but a redirection of their energy toward what truly matters. This shift enables them to offer their compassion in ways that are both sustainable and deeply meaningful. By embracing modern Stoicism and its emphasis on balance and self-mastery, kind people can live authentically, rediscover their inner strength, and find joy in their ability to give without losing themselves in the process. Number 2. Strength in kindness. Have you ever stopped to think about how much courage it takes to remain kind in a world that often seems to reward selfishness and cruelty? Kindness, in its purest form, is not a weakness. It's one of the greatest forms of strength. True strength lies not in dominance or aggression, but in the ability to choose compassion, even when the world around you feels cold and indifferent. Being kind doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It means staying true to your values without losing your sense of self-respect. Denzel Washington reminds us of this when he says that kindness is an act of courage. It takes immense strength to maintain compassion and understanding, especially when faced with negativity or exploitation. Have you ever wondered why it feels so challenging to remain kind in difficult moments? Maybe it's because our society often equates strength with harshness, leaving little room for the quiet power of kindness. Modern Stoicism gives us a roadmap to navigate this tension. It teaches us that true resilience comes from aligning our actions with our principles, regardless of how others behave. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This speaks directly to the heart of what it means to have strength and kindness. The world may not always reward your compassion, and at times it might even mock it. But does that diminish its value? Or does it reveal just how rare and precious it is? When you choose kindness in the face of hostility, you're exercising a form of strength that transcends the superficial need for approval or control. Have you ever considered how much inner fortitude it takes to rise above anger, frustration, or the temptation to retaliate, to offer understanding when it's least expected? Still, I won't deny that being kind can feel like a lonely road. There are moments when the weight of staying true to your principles feels like a burden rather than a gift. The world often tries to convince us that the only way to survive is to be hardened, to guard ourselves against vulnerability. But here's the truth. Kindness doesn't mean letting go of boundaries. It means being deliberate about how you respond to others, ensuring your compassion isn't rooted in fear or the need for validation, but in the strength of your character. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you embrace this mindset, you start to see that kindness isn't about how others treat you. It's about how you choose to show up in the world. And yet, let's be honest, kindness doesn't always feel rewarding in the moment, does it? You might wonder, why should I keep giving when others take me for granted? This is where we often confuse kindness with approval seeking. Modern Stoicism teaches us to let go of the need for external validation and to focus on the integrity of our actions instead. It asks us to reflect. Are you kind because you expect something in return, or because it aligns with the person you want to be? Seneca captured this beautifully when he said, "No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. So even when your kindness seems unnoticed or unappreciated, it's never without impact." Isn't that comforting to consider? Think about the people in your life who have shown you kindness when you least deserved it. How did it shape you? How did it stay with you, long after the moment had passed? That's the quiet power of kindness. It leaves a legacy, even if it doesn't always get recognized in the moment. When you choose to be kind, you're planting seeds of change, whether you see them bloom or not. But I know that's easier said than done. It's hard to stay compassionate when you feel drained, unsupported, or misunderstood. Have you ever felt like kindness was more of a liability than a strength? Like you were putting yourself at risk by choosing to care? That's a valid fear, and it's one that nice people grapple with all the time. But what if the real risk is in letting the world's negativity rob you of your ability to connect, to empathize, to love? Denzel Washington often speaks about the power of staying true to yourself, even in the face of adversity. He reminds us that kindness, far from being a sign of weakness, is a testament to your resilience. It's a reminder that no matter how unforgiving the world may seem, you have the power to respond with grace. And that, my friend, is the ultimate act of strength. So let me ask you, when was the last time you chose kindness even when it was difficult? How did it make you feel? And more importantly, what did it teach you about yourself? Perhaps the greatest lesson of all is that strength and kindness isn't about what you get in return. It's about the person it allows you to become. When you think about it, isn't that what modern Stoicism is all about? It's about understanding that true fulfillment doesn't come from external rewards, but from living in alignment with your values. It's about finding peace in knowing that your actions reflect the best version of yourself, regardless of how the world responds. And so, as you navigate this often harsh and unforgiving world, I invite you to see your kindness not as a burden, but as your greatest strength. Because in the end, the world may not always acknowledge it, but your kindness has the power to change lives, including your own. So, will you let the world define your strength? Or will you choose to let your kindness be the legacy you leave behind? Are you ready to set healthy boundaries and protect your energy? Comment below with "I'm committed" or "I'm ready" to take the first step toward embracing kindness with strength and balance. And don't stop there. Watch until the end for some surprising insights in how nice people can transform and find joy. You won't want to miss it. Number 3. Don't let loneliness weigh you down. Loneliness, though often seen as a burden, can be one of life's most profound teachers, especially for those who lead with kindness and selflessness. Nice people, in their quest to uplift others, sometimes find themselves standing alone, misunderstood, or overlooked. But instead of viewing loneliness as a punishment, what if you saw it as an opportunity? Denzel Washington reminds us of this powerful truth. Embrace solitude, for it is in these moments of quiet that true strength is forged. Consider this. A young woman named Maria, always the dependable friend, found herself feeling isolated after years of giving more than she received. Her weekends were once filled with helping others move, lending an ear to endless complaints, or offering her skills to friends' projects, often without even a simple thank you in return. Eventually, she realized that the connections she was nurturing weren't genuine, and she made the bold choice to step back. At first, the silence felt unbearable. Her phone stopped buzzing, her calendar cleared, and loneliness crept in. But what Maria discovered in those empty spaces was invaluable. She began to understand herself, not just who she was to others, but who she was when no one was watching. Loneliness can be a time of self-reflection, a gift disguised as discomfort. In solitude, nice people like Maria gain clarity about their values and desires. They have the space to evaluate their relationships and identify what truly matters. The Stoic secrets of great thinkers like Marcus Aurelius remind us to treat solitude not as exile, but as an opportunity to strengthen the inner fortress of our minds. Marcus wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." How often do we use alone time to grow rather than wallow? For Maria, those quiet weekends became her sanctuary. She explored her passions, honed her skills, and grew confident in her own worth. She discovered that her value didn't come from being a people-pleaser, but from being herself. Slowly, as she grew stronger and more self-assured, the right kind of connections found their way into her life. People who appreciated her for who she was, not just what she could give. Have you ever felt like loneliness was dragging you down instead of lifting you up? It's easy to feel defeated when you're alone, but the truth is, those moments can be a time of renewal. Solitude allows you to reset, to stop the noise of the world, and listen to your inner voice. Denzel Washington's wisdom resonates here. Rather than rushing to fill the silence with shallow relationships, embrace it as a space to prepare yourself for the meaningful connections that are yet to come. Just like Maria, you can use this time to reflect on your boundaries, your priorities, and the kind of relationships that truly nourish your soul. Loneliness doesn't have to be a weight that holds you down. It can be the very force that helps you rise. Think of it like this. When you're constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to lose sight of yourself. But when you're alone, you have the chance to reconnect with your own heart and mind. This is where the Stoic secrets reveal their power, helping us understand that solitude is not emptiness, but fullness in disguise. It's a time to cultivate resilience, to build the inner strength needed to navigate life's challenges with grace. When you embrace your alone time, you transform it from something to fear into something to cherish. Maria's story reminds us that loneliness is not a sign of failure, but a step towards something greater. The key lesson here is to shift your perspective. Loneliness doesn't mean you've been abandoned or forgotten. It means you have the chance to grow. Use this time to build confidence in yourself, to understand your worth, and to prepare for the relationships that truly matter. The right people will come, but only if you're ready to meet them as your best self. Ask yourself, how can I use my solitude to become stronger? What lessons can I learn from this moment of quiet? Instead of letting loneliness weigh you down, let it lift you up and prepare you for a brighter future. As Denzel Washington said, true strength is forged in moments of quiet. And when you emerge from solitude, you'll find that you're not only stronger but more equipped to form the deep, meaningful connections you deserve. Number 4. Finding worthy people. In the pursuit of meaningful relationships, nice people often face the challenge of discerning who is truly worthy of their kindness and trust. While their natural inclination may be to extend empathy and care indiscriminately, it is crucial to recognize that not everyone will value or reciprocate their generosity. Sharing emotional energy with those who exploit it can leave them feeling drained, unappreciated, and even disillusioned about their own nature. To avoid this, nice people must learn to be selective about the individuals they allow into their lives. By choosing relationships with those who align with their values and respect their boundaries, they can create deeper, more fulfilling connections that nurture their well-being. Denzel Washington wisely advises patience in this process, reminding us that when nice people take the time to choose wisely, their kindness will be met with equal respect and admiration, allowing their relationships to flourish. This principle ties seamlessly into the teachings of modern Stoicism, which emphasizes the importance of discernment in all aspects of life, including relationships. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn as they teach." This timeless advice underscores the value of surrounding oneself with individuals who inspire growth, encourage self-improvement, and reciprocate respect. For nice people, this means seeking out like-minded individuals who share similar goals, principles, and an appreciation for genuine kindness. These connections are not only more sustainable, but also contribute to a greater sense of purpose and belonging, enriching life rather than depleting it. In today's fast-paced and often impersonal world, this wisdom is especially relevant. Social media and superficial interactions can make it challenging to identify those who are truly invested in meaningful relationships. Nice people must navigate these complexities by prioritizing authenticity and seeking relationships built on trust, mutual respect, and shared values. This does not mean shutting out new connections or being overly skeptical, but rather maintaining a discerning mindset to ensure their kindness is not wasted on those who do not appreciate it. In this way, their emotional energy becomes a valuable resource, shared only with those who uplift and support them, leading to relationships that are both rewarding and enduring. The process of finding worthy people also requires introspection. By understanding their own needs, values, and boundaries, nice people can more clearly identify the qualities they seek in others. For instance, are they drawn to individuals who share their passion for personal growth, empathy, or resilience? Are they cultivating relationships with those who respect their time and contributions? Modern Stoicism offers practical tools for this journey, encouraging individuals to align their relationships with their highest values and principles. As Marcus Aurelius observed in Meditations, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. By surrounding themselves with worthy people, nice individuals can ensure their environment reflects the qualities they wish to embody, fostering a life of greater harmony and purpose. Practicing patience, as Denzel Washington advises, is another key to finding worthy people. Building meaningful connections takes time, as true relationships are forged through shared experiences, mutual understanding, and consistent respect. In a society that often prioritizes instant gratification, nice people must resist the urge to settle for superficial relationships simply to fill a void. Instead, they should embrace the journey of discovering individuals who genuinely value their kindness and return it in equal measure. This requires perseverance, but the reward is a network of supportive, like-minded individuals who contribute to their overall happiness and personal growth. Nice people must recognize that their kindness is a gift, one that deserves to be shared with those who genuinely appreciate and reciprocate it. By being selective, they protect their emotional energy and create space for relationships that elevate rather than drain them. The wisdom of modern Stoicism reinforces this approach, reminding us that the company we keep profoundly influences our character and well-being. When nice people practice discernment in their relationships, they not only find the respect and admiration they deserve, but also create a life filled with meaningful connections and enduring joy. As Seneca's words suggest, the process of finding worthy people is a mutual journey of growth, one that strengthens both individuals and their relationships. proving that kindness shared wisely can truly transform lives. Number 5. The journey to growth and success. Have you ever noticed how the journey of being kind often feels like walking a path filled with unexpected challenges and setbacks? It's not an easy road, is it? For nice people, the world can sometimes feel harsh, as if their kindness is a burden rather than a strength. But here's the truth. Those difficulties aren't there to break you. They're there to shape you. Every obstacle you face builds your resilience, teaching you how to navigate life with grace and integrity. Denzel Washington's words remind us that while the road to success may be long, it's persistence and patience that lead to true fulfillment. Success, whether in your personal relationships or your professional life, takes time. But isn't it the slow, steady climb that builds the strongest foundation? Modern Stoicism offers a perspective that perfectly complements this idea. It reminds us that growth is not about avoiding challenges but embracing them. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Think about that for a moment. What if the very struggles you face are the stepping stones to your success? Have you considered how every setback, every rejection, and every tough moment you endure is teaching you something invaluable? It's not just about reaching the finish line, it's about who you become along the way. Nice people may not take the easiest path, but isn't that what makes their journey so remarkable? They build something deeper than success. They build a legacy rooted in compassion and unwavering integrity. But let's be honest, staying kind and persistent in the face of adversity isn't easy. It can feel lonely at times, like you're giving your best to a world that doesn't always reciprocate. Have you ever felt like giving up because the weight of your efforts seemed too heavy to carry? This is where the philosophy of modern Stoicism becomes a guiding light. It encourages us to detach from the outcome and focus instead on the process. Seneca wisely said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Could it be that the very struggles you face are refining you, making you stronger and more prepared for the success that lies ahead? Nice people often underestimate the power of their quiet perseverance. While others may chase quick wins or compromise their values for temporary gains, those who stay true to their principles are building something that lasts. Have you ever thought about the kind of legacy you want to leave behind? Is it one of fleeting achievements, or one of compassion and authenticity? Kindness may not always bring immediate rewards, but its impact is profound and enduring. It inspires others, creates connections, and leaves a mark that time cannot erase. Denzel Washington's message is clear. The path may be long, but every step you take with integrity brings you closer to your goals. And more importantly, it inspires others to follow your example. I want to ask you, how do you measure success? Is it in accolades and recognition, or in the quiet satisfaction of knowing you stayed true to your values? It's easy to get discouraged when progress feels slow, or when others don't immediately see your worth. But remember, the best things in life take time. Just as a tree doesn't grow strong overnight, neither does a legacy of kindness and resilience. Every act of compassion, every moment of patience, and every challenge you overcome is adding to the foundation of something extraordinary. As you continue on your journey, keep this in mind. The road to growth and success isn't just about achieving your goals. It's about becoming the kind of person who can inspire others to achieve theirs. Modern Stoicism teaches us that fulfillment comes not from what we acquire, but from the character we build along the way. So, will you let the difficulties define you, or will you let them refine you? The choice, as always, is yours. And remember, every step you take with kindness is a step toward a legacy that will stand the test of time. As we wrap up, remember this. Kindness is not a weakness. It's your true strength. In a world that often overlooks compassion, your persistence in staying authentic is an act of quiet courage. Loneliness may feel overwhelming at times, but it's not the end. It's a stepping stone, a moment of preparation for the meaningful connections and legacy you're building. As Denzel Washington reminds us, staying kind and resilient despite the challenges will eventually lead you to the people and opportunities that truly align with your values. Let me ask you, how can you bring this principle of unwavering kindness into your daily life? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you stay true to yourself even when the world feels tough. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more insights on how to navigate life with strength and purpose. Together, let's turn our challenges into growth and our kindness into a lasting legacy.